Yeah, and that's what he points out in Japan, that despite all their bad habits there, I mean, they have a really high rate of smoking, and despite all of that, they still have the most centenarians,
Mm-hmm.
and yet they have those high rates of drinking and smoking. But that does go back to what you inherited in your genes, and probably a few other factors.
Yeah, because these are all over the map. People that are centenarians now, who knows what they ate over those 100 years, right?
Right.
It could be a whole bunch of different things. But again, you put yourself at a major advantage when you focus on things that are actually good for you, that we know are going to be beneficial. And like we mentioned on previous podcasts, minimizing the insulin secretion is an important factor because hyperinsulinemia kind of goes hand in hand with obesity. People are putting out too much insulin, which keeps their body fat locked in and stores even more body fat. And as I recall that talk that I saw at UCLA, this was a researcher that knew Terry Grossman, and he was co-author with Ray Kurzweil of Futurists. The book that they had then was called Fantastic Voyage, Live Long Enough to Live Forever. So both these guys, I think they're in their 60s, but they're getting up there, and they're really becoming very aware of the nature of mortality, and they want to extend their lifespans as much as possible. So I know that Ray Kurzweil's got a whole regimen of pills that he's taking, vitamin supplements and so forth, and I think it goes up into the dozens of different types. So he's kind of like throwing lots against the wall and seeing what sticks, basically. But I think what matters are the fundamentals, right?
Yeah.
I mean, basic nutritional knowledge, the motivation to stay with a certain eating lifestyle, and a mindset that keeps you positive and fosters high self-esteem and a lack of conflict with yourself, even your different sub-selves. Like one self wants to go eat something that you know is not going to be healthy for you, and the other self is battling with that. So how do you integrate that self that isn't in harmony with what is actually good for you to promote a healthy mind fit body, right?
Yeah, and I think we both have talked about how we've come across that among different people. They'll say things like I had somebody say, I don't want to know if that's bad for me because I like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's this idea that I don't want to know the truth because the truth is really, it's going to affect my lifestyle. It's going to make me not want to eat the things that I enjoy.
Yeah, I had a guy last night tell me that he knows that he's eating foods that are not good for him, that are keeping him not so fit.
Yeah.
Even though he tries to exercise a lot, he still has the love handles. And he said that I don't want to give them up,
Yeah.
even though I know that they're not good for me. So there's a conflict right there in bold relief. And how do you overcome those
Yeah,
things?
exactly.
Well, you kind of have to sit down and do some introspection and really explore what's going on in your subconscious, your thoughts and feelings on this. And this is what's great about the addendum part of Healthy Mind Fit Body, because I have a 7-day program in there where you can actually go through that and explore the different facets of yourself and basically become more integrated. And so you're not trying to make excuses with yourself as to why you're not achieving really what you want.
Yeah, exactly.
And part of that, of course, is the nutritional aspect, eating the right foods. And there are various ways of looking at what foods are the best to eat. And I think a typical one these days is the Mediterranean diet, right? And this article here that we
Yeah.
have on the Daily Mail UK kind of goes through some of those things that you'd get from that kind of diet.
Yeah, the article is called You're as Old as You Eat, Our Guide to Foods That Fight Off Age. And this actually overlaps a little bit with the article that I wrote, so this is good. But it's got some new stuff.
Yeah, as new research shows that olive oil could play a vital role in protecting against dementia, we look at the key foods that have shown to be an ally against aging. And of course, number one is olive oil, rich in monounsaturated fat, right? And they also say there's a compound in it called oleocanthal.
Mm-hmm.
It's been found to slow down changes in the brain that lead to Alzheimer's. Researchers believe it will become a key ingredient in medicines designed to combat the disease. And Alzheimer's is a really insidious disease that a high percentage of elderly people get, unfortunately. But another compound to perhaps forestall that is curcumin, the spice that they use in a lot of Indian food.
Yeah.
Curry is basically the spice that they use widely in India, but the ingredient is curcumin, and that has been known to potentially be a preventer of Alzheimer's. Or they have a low incidence in India, and that they're attributing it to that at least.
Yeah. So, yeah, the second thing would be vitamin D, which is good for your bones. And vitamin D you can get, obviously from the sun, and we've talked about that before. Get out in the sun for 20, 30 minutes a day. But it's also found in eggs, oily fish, and animal liver. And so consuming that, it helps to fix calcium in bones.
As we're entering this winter season or late fall, with the time change and everything, people aren't going to get as much sun. So it's good to supplement with vitamin D.
Yeah, exactly. So here's the oily fish again. So this is pointing out that the omega-3 fatty acids in fish oil have been found to reduce the risk of heart disease and heart attack, and to prevent furring up of the arteries. So furring, this is an English newspaper, I take it, right?
Yes, fine.
Yeah, they have some odd words and some weird spellings, but it's something that again is overlooked a lot. And you can also get the omega-3s from certain kinds of meat, like the grass-fed beef is high in omega-3s, so it doesn't just have to be fish.
Or wild game too, if you're a hunter out there.
Right.
So that was the meat part, right? The University of Texas thing.
Yeah, that's right. They have meat in here too, so they recommend meat, strength.
And then there's garlic. Yes, this is good for the Halloween season because it does keep the vampires away. As age creeps up, infections can hit you harder, so it's a good immune booster. Has an active molecule called allicin and acts as a general antibiotic against a range of bacteria and viruses, and has been found to combat gastrointestinal infections, as well as H. pylori, a microbe that causes stomach ulcers. And then finally we end with the fruit and leafy greens, right?
Oh, yeah. And just like we've talked about this as well, almost every diet says it's important to eat your vegetables and eat your greens. So, obviously that's going to be something that's going to help. They point out in this article about eyesight, how fruit and leafy greens will help your eyesight.
Yes. Don't forget to wear safety glasses, too. That'll protect your eyesight.
Yeah, it says eat 3 portions of fruit a day. Eating 3 portions of fruit a day has been shown to reduce the risk of developing age-related macular degeneration by more than a third.
And keep dark leafy greens such as spinach, chard, kale, broccoli, and Brussels sprouts at the top of your list.